At the start of this year, I would have not imagined that my 2020 would have ended up like this. And by like this, I just mean fully invested in the film photography medium and here with a YouTube channel. As a usually introverted, quiet, reserved person, a YouTube channel is the last thing I ever thought I'd do. However, it's been really fun to really explore my creative side and also just have a purpose to document and track my progress as a photographer in general. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead now and basically download the free Silverfast software that comes with the Epson v600 scanner. I got my drawers of negatives out. I am ready to get started. For instance, the past couple of weeks when I got my scanner, I really invested at least a couple hours a day into learning how to scan the negatives, use the Silverfast software, and fix the photos to my liking. The photos that I will eventually be showing in this video were all scanned in TIFF files because usually when I send my negatives to the lab, I just ask for JPEGs because it is cheaper. So now that I have my own scanner, I can finally get higher quality, if anything, higher quality photos than before. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this one. It'll just be a lot of me talking at the camera, which is something I'm getting a bit used to now. Hi, and welcome back to now. So I'm gonna have my intro where I'll be like, hi, and so because I won't be doing a tutorial on how to use the Epson v600 printer, I thought it would be cool to show my film camera collection as well as give a bit of a background on why I started this channel in the first place. But before getting into all of that, I'm just gonna give a quick background on how I got into photography in general. So it was in between my second to third year in university where I purchased my first ever camera, the Canon T6i, which I am actually currently using to film this video. So that was probably around 3 years ago when I got this camera. I was in a media program in university, so being surrounded by cameras every day sort of influenced me. I originally went into my program thinking I would be some sports journalist by the end of it, but then everything completely changed. I just fell in love with video editing, video production, and then when I got this camera, that's where photography came in hand and where I found out I actually love taking photos more than making videos.
Is that what you want to be? A photographer?
I think so, if I have any talent for it.
When I first got the camera, I would just take photos of my friends and family, and then a year later, I finally had some other opportunities where I shot some events, like Pride Toronto 2018. That whole month, I was shooting events across the whole city, and I ended up shooting the parade as well, and Kehlani's concert that was around Yonge and Dundas. So from there, I just really enjoyed that experience, and I saw myself doing more of that once I graduated. So I was able to get like some odd gigs here and there, collaborating with a friend who was an event planner to shoot some events. I even reached out to some managers of musicians to shoot their concerts, and I was able to shoot a Toro y Moi concert around November of last year. And then earlier this year, again, same thing, shooting some events, had some concerts line up, and of course COVID happened. So my first film camera was actually some point and shoot that I don't have with me anymore, and I honestly don't remember what the make was. I just got it from a friend in university early 2018, and it was just perfect timing for me to have that camera because I took it with me on a trip to the Philippines, and I just carried it around with me all over campus. And with that particular camera, I ended up just taking a bunch of photos of family and friends, just like how I did when I first got my DSLR. So here are the photos that I rescanned from my first ever point and shoot. So the second film camera that I got was the ricoh 500G. So this camera I actually got off Kijiji for I think 30 or 40 bucks, somewhere around there. And I honestly just got it without knowing anything about this camera. I just typed in film cameras onto Kijiji and saw it was one of the cheapest ones and bought it. And I only started doing research about this camera when I took it back home and searched up videos on YouTube on how to load film into this camera. I honestly just guessed with my first ever roll, but for not knowing really how to use this camera, they were pretty decent. And that was the only roll I ever shot in it, or the only good roll anyways, because the second one, it was all blank. When I sent it to the lab, they said they couldn't get any photos from it, so I wasted some money. And then after that, I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I want to risk it. But I mean, now with my knowledge, maybe one day I'll take this out again. The third camera in my collection is the Canon Sure Shot point and shoot. I got this just a bit after I got the ricoh 500, and that was because I didn't know what I was doing with that camera and I wanted a quick and easy point and shoot. I was also going on another trip to the Philippines, so this is early 2019 now, and yeah, I knew I wanted to take film photos again and I needed a new camera. This has also been with me during my last semester of university, and honestly with this camera I've taken a few of my favorite photos that I've ever shot on a point and shoot. These next few photos from the Blackpink concert and the Toronto Raptors championship parade, I sadly couldn't find the negatives for these photos, but I wanted to really show them because these came out really well from the Canon point and shoot. And now the fourth camera If you've seen any other previous video of mine on this channel, especially the first two, you'll know that I own the Minolta X700, and now this is where I've become fully invested in the film photography medium. So backtracking to my whole photography story again. Earlier this year, when I had a bunch of gigs canceled, I tried to find ways to stay creative with photography. I honestly couldn't do that with my DSLR. I just didn't know what I wanted to create from home. I just delved onto YouTube and watched a bunch of photography videos, then ended up on film photography channels. So that's where I started to learn more about film photography outside of point and shoots. Something in my mind just sort of clicked, and I was on a just do it and focus mode. I quickly searched up on Kijiji again, and I came up on the Minolta X700. It was, I think, on sale for $100, and it came with the 50mm lens. Later on, I invested in a 28mm, which I use more often now. Well, I got this camera around the beginning of July. I went outside, went downtown, shot some random photos, like street photos, and that's what I was doing the whole summer, and then eventually came on this channel to do the POV video. Because you've seen all those photos that I've taken on this camera in the fall, I'm going to be showing you the earlier photos that I've captured on the X700. And lastly, the final film camera in my collection is the medium format Mamiya M645. I personally thought that I got the hang of shooting 35mm on the SLRs fairly quickly, so I started doing research on medium format cameras, and I was just really into the look, the medium format look. Apart from other YouTubers that were shooting medium format, I came across a photographer by the name of Daria Kobayashi Rich. Like, her photos are just something I just inspired to achieve. Like, that level of creative direction, creativity in general, and then
talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same.
What am I talking about? Right. Oh yeah, okay. Like I said, Daria's photos, the ability to shoot medium format so just perfect. Yeah, that's what I aspire to reach, and like, Daria's photos are what's pushing me currently to really perfect and become better at using my Mamiya M645. For my medium format photos, I just rescanned some portraits I took of my friends that you can also see in my previous two videos. The difference here is, of course, the TIFF files, and I also scanned the images with the borders included. Before I actually start talking about why I started this channel, I just enjoyed the experience of rescanning my old negatives and really going down memory lane and all that nostalgia stuff. Yeah, I've actually really seen how far I've come in terms of photography and how much farther I still need to go. And that's sort of a quarter of the reason why I started this channel. Another part of that being I was looking for another creative outlet. I also want to track, document my journey shooting this medium. And most importantly, During my time looking through photography videos on YouTube, I would always come across some guy and his camera. So it was very seldom that I would see other women photographers on this platform, and you know, I just gained the confidence to show myself on here as well. Being a woman in the photography world, I also want to look up to other women and collaborate with other women in the future. Just take up that space, make that space for us and that community. Overall, I am on this platform because I enjoy being creative. I want to see how much I'll improve down the line, and of course, to just be a form of representation for women in photography. So thank you for tuning into this video, and honestly, I can't wait for next year to ring in. With that being said, have a great holidays, and I will see you guys in the new year. But yeah, trying to see if I can make this the thumbnail. Here we go.